Okay, the last two examples here before we get into actually what's going on in the song. Example 1G takes what we just did with this 3-finger pattern idea, and it just basically starts it and ends it. Yes, it ends it too with a low open E string. So it's the same thing we had before, just it's going to feel a little different under your fingers picking it because you're starting it with an open string. Sorry about that. Okay, and I use this to help me really get this alternating finger moving up and down each string. To get that feel, I use this, I kind of built an exercise with this that starts on a low string every time, plays up at different various spots, and comes all the way down to the low E. So I'll take each string and I'll keep adding the next string. So I'm going to go up one string, and then I'm going to go up one more string completely, and then back down completely to the E. Then I'm going to add one more string completely, come down completely, and then just keep doing this. Okay, but I won't, a lot of times I don't stop, I just play the whole thing through. Okay, and then also sometimes I'll continue, but now I'll start lessening the amount of strings I play, all the way to where I'm back to the beginning, just playing that. Okay, if that makes sense. So that's one way I try to pick the scale apart and find some common things that I can maybe use to make it more comfortable for myself, but also make it sound a little different than just running up and down a scale. Of course, this sounds like a pattern, but when you get into playing, it doesn't always have to sound like a pattern. Okay, so you can just kind of mess around with it that way instead of taking it like the pattern like I did, just up and down, up and down. I mean, of course, that's just that gets monotonous too, obviously. Okay, the last example here, example 1H, is a really quirky little spot. Not really quirky, I mean a really easy spot in this scale to navigate your way through, and it all happens right at the 9th, 10th, and a couple notes at the 12th fret. Okay, if you look at it here, it's showing you, and let me check this while I play it. Okay, so the first two bars are just right up half steps there on the D, the G, and the B string. Okay, and again, it doesn't sound quite like a scale because the notes there's more intervals between some of them. Even though these are half steps, it's kind of cool. What happens, and you want to look at all this stuff as chords, like when I was showing you these tritone, or these diminished third things here. Look at these two groups of notes here as a set of notes here and a set of notes here. Mix and match. Okay, so I'm just grabbing, I'll say clusters out of those things. Okay, so now put those behind your E background. Okay, and now it's starting to sound a little flamenco-ish. very comfortable spot to play on the scale. It sounds nice. Okay, a lot of tension, a lot of release. The second part of this, measures 3 and 4, is basically another variation of that same thing, it looks like. Okay, and that's just starting on the 9th fret here on the D string, going to the 10th fret on the B string, and right back down. Okay, the last measure starts to add some other notes that are around it. Okay, and again, if you think tone clusters, you can get some other chords out of this. Oops. So I'm just looking at this as a cluster of notes, this as a cluster of notes, and these two as a cluster of notes, and I'm putting them together. Any order I want. Okay? Here's a key thing here that a lot of people want to pick up on, is right here. This group of notes is a diminished arpeggio. Okay, like a diminished 7 arpeggio. More of this can be found at that Phrygian dominant lesson at lessons.mikedodge.com. It'll go in to show you how. Sorry about that. All that I just played there are a series of diminished 7 arpeggios, minor third away, are all directly in the scale. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on that because that's a very unique sound in its own, and it's not really going to fit into what we're doing. Okay, with what we're going to do on this exercise. All right, so I think that's about it for the scale. For some of the passages that we're going to run into playing the demonstration. And at this point, what we'll do is we'll start looking at that demonstration, basically kind of a grouped phrase by grouped phrase. That's kind of how I pieced it together. Okay? Thanks.